She grabbed a complete stranger at a bar to fool her parents, and he pretended to be her boyfriend for one night, and somehow that ridiculous moment turned into a marriage. It started on an ordinary Friday evening. I was sitting alone at a downtown bar, drinking a beer and trying to unwind after work, when a woman I'd never seen in my life marched up to me, grabbed my face with both hands, and kissed me. Not a quick greeting, a full, 3-second kiss that tasted like red wine in panic. She pulled back with her palms still on my shoulders and whispered, "I'm really sorry, but please just go along with this." Before I could even ask what on earth was happening, she spun around and beamed at the couple standing behind her. "Mom, Dad, this is my boyfriend. The guy I've been telling you about." Her mom was the intimidating, blazer-wearing type, the kind of woman who sizes you up like you're a job candidate. Her dad looked like he'd stepped out of a coaching seminar, arms crossed, posture ready to grill me. I absolutely should have cleared things up. Should have told them their daughter had basically assaulted a random guy at a bar. But instead, I heard my own voice saying, "It's great to finally meet you both. She talks about you all the time." Her grip on my shoulder tightened, gratitude mixed with terror. Her mom didn't buy a bit of it. "Interesting," she said. "She hasn't mentioned your name. Or your job. Or how you met." Lena jumped in fast. "I wanted it to be a surprise. I knew you'd be visiting this week, and I thought it'd be nicer to introduce you in person." Her dad folded his arms even tighter. "And your name is?" I glanced at her. She stared back at me like someone begging for a miracle. "Evan," I said, grabbing the first name that came to mind. "Evan Carter." "And what do you do, Evan?" her mother asked. "I work in software, mostly web development." That part was actually true, which helped. Lena visibly relaxed. "And how did you two meet?" her father asked. Lena answered before I could. "At a coffee shop a few months ago. I spilled my latte all over his laptop and felt awful, so I bought him another drink." She trailed off, cueing me. "And I asked for her number before she could sneak out," I finished. "Best accident I've ever been part of." Her mom softened just a hair. Her dad stayed suspicious. 3 months isn't very long, he said. "Long enough to know she's someone special," I said, surprising even myself. We were making up a relationship on the fly, and somehow it wasn't crashing and burning. Her mom checked her watch. "We have dinner reservations in 20 minutes. I assume you'll join us, Evan." My half-finished beer was still sitting behind me. I'd planned to drink it, go home, and watch basketball. Instead, I was being dragged into dinner with strangers, pretending to be someone's boyfriend. "Sure," I said. Lena finally released my shoulder and laced her fingers with mine like we'd rehearsed it for weeks. Her hand was warm and slightly shaky. We left the bar behind her parents, and as soon as they were a few steps ahead, she whispered, "Thank you. I'll explain everything. I promise. I'm Lena, by the way." "Evan," I said. "Which you already know, since I blurted it out in front of your parents." She let out an unsteady laugh. "Sorry. They showed up early. They've been asking about my boyfriend non-stop." I panicked. "So you grabbed a random stranger? You were the closest person who looked date-appropriate." I didn't have time to be picky. "Date-appropriate," I repeated. "Great. I'll put that on my profile." She squeezed my hand again. "Dinner's on me. After tonight, you won't ever have to see me again." We reached a small Italian restaurant a few blocks away. The hostess sat us by the window, and I found myself staring at Lena's parents while mentally rehearsing the details of our invented romance. 3 months. Coffee shop. Spilled latte. At least my name was actually Evan, one less lie to juggle. When the waiter took our drink orders, her dad chose scotch, her mom white wine, and Lena ordered red like she was hoping it would calm her entire soul. I ordered a beer and tried to look like someone who lied for a living. "So, Evan," her mother said once the waiter left. "Tell us about yourself. Where did you grow up?" "Illinois. Small town near Chicago. I moved here for school and stayed for work." "All true. Funny how honesty made lying easier." "And your family?" she asked. "Still in Illinois. My parents live there. I have a younger sister, she teaches. Also true. Lena watched me like she was genuinely learning who I was, this guy she was supposedly dating. There was gratitude in her eyes, sure, but also curiosity. Her father leaned forward. "What are your intentions with our daughter?" he asked bluntly. Lena nearly choked on her water. "Dad. It's been 3 months. Can we please not do this right now?" "I think it's a reasonable question," her mother said. "You've been secretive about this relationship. We want to understand what's going on." Lena stiffened beside me. I could feel her entire body tense. This was the perfect moment to bail. I could have excused myself, called it a night, and left this whole bizarre situation behind. Instead, I reached under the table and took her hand. The same way she'd grabbed mine outside the bar. "My only intention is to make her happy," I said. "Right now, that's all I'm trying to do." Lena tightened her grip on my hand. Her dad stared me down for a few long seconds before finally giving a small nod. "Good answer." The waiter came back with our drinks and took our food orders, and things drifted into safer conversation territory. Lena's mom talked about their flight and hotel. Her dad asked more about my job, so I gave the short, polished version of what web development is, you know, the one that makes it sound cooler than it actually is. Lena jumped in now and then with little comments that made it sound like she knew everything about my routine, my work, even my habits. She was running this improv relationship like a pro. She mentioned a movie we'd watched together last week. She brought up a restaurant we'd tried that had awful service but great food. She basically built a full relationship story out of thin air, and I supported it, adding believable details, keeping the rhythm consistent. By the time our food showed up, even I started to feel like maybe we had known each other for 3 months. Her parents seemed more relaxed. Her mom even laughed when Lena told them a fake story about me trying to cook dinner and almost setting off her smoke alarm. "He's way better at ordering takeout," Lena joked, squeezing my hand again. "Everyone's got talents," I said. Her dad chuckled, a small miracle. Halfway through dinner, Lena's phone lit up. She checked the screen, and her face instantly drained of color. "Sorry, I need to take this," she said and walked toward the entrance. Her mom watched her go. "Is everything all right?" "I'm sure it's nothing," I lied. The truth was, I had no clue what was happening. I was just hoping the whole situation didn't explode. Her dad leaned toward me. "Evan. I want to be honest." "Go ahead."
Lena's had a rough year. The breakup with her last boyfriend wasn't easy. We worry about her. She doesn't always make the best choices. I nodded, not sure how to respond. I knew nothing about this breakup or this rough year. Then her mom added, "But tonight? With you? She looks genuinely happy. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." That hit me harder than I expected. They weren't bad parents, they were worried. Meanwhile, I was helping their daughter lie straight to their faces. Lena returned a moment later, her expression calm, almost blank. "You okay?" I whispered. "Yeah, just work stuff." But her shaking hand around the wine glass told a different story. After dinner, her parents said they were heading back to the hotel, early morning tomorrow. Her mom hugged Lena, then surprisingly hugged me too. "It was so nice to meet you, Evan. I'm happy she has someone who treats her well." Her dad shook my hand with that overly strong grip dads all seem born knowing how to do. "Take care of her." "I will," I said. Then they walked off, leaving just me and Lena standing outside on the sidewalk like actors whose scene had just ended. "I cannot believe we pulled that off," she said. She was still holding my hand. "Your parents are intense." "You don't say," she muttered. "And I'm really sorry you had to go through that. Why did you even need a fake boyfriend?" I finally asked. "Why not just tell them the truth?" She let go of my hand and hugged her arms around herself. "The truth is, I broke up with my real boyfriend 2 months ago. And I didn't tell them. They loved him. Thought we were practically engaged. So instead of admitting you broke up, you invented me? When you say it like that," she said, "it sounds insane. Because it is insane." She laughed, a real laugh this time. "I know. But they were excited to meet him and I didn't want to disappoint them again." "Again?" She looked down. "I dropped out of law school last year. They hated that. Then I quit my corporate job to freelance as a graphic designer, also not a hit. And then the one boyfriend they actually approved of dumped me for not being ambitious enough. So yeah, I disappoint them a lot." "Or," I said, "you just make choices they wouldn't make." She blinked, surprised. "That's honestly the nicest way anyone's framed it." We stood there quietly for a beat, traffic humming around us. "So who called during dinner?" I asked gently. She hesitated. My ex. The one my parents think I'm still with. What did he want? To tell me he's engaged. Met someone 6 weeks ago. He wanted me to hear it from him before I saw it online. The whole situation clicked into place. So he dumps you for not being ambitious enough and then immediately gets engaged to someone else? She's a corporate attorney, Lena said. My parents would love her. Her voice wavered. I'm sorry, I said. That's brutal timing. I'm used to brutal timing. She checked her phone again. Anyway, I should let you go. You've already done way more than any normal stranger would ever do. She hesitated, then added, really? Thank you. For all of this. You were a surprisingly convincing fake boyfriend. You too, I said. You might actually be the best fake girlfriend I've ever had. That earned another small smile. Can I buy you a real drink? She asked. As a thank you for dragging you into this insanity? I absolutely should have said no. The night was done, the favor completed. Yeah, I said. Sure. We walked back to the bar where this whole mess began and grabbed 2 seats. Lena ordered another glass of wine. I got a beer. So, I said, settling in. Tell me about the real Lena. The one who isn't inventing stories for her parents. Lena took a long sip of wine. The real me is kind of a mess, she said. I'm 28, I live in a tiny studio overflowing with plants, and most of my day is spent designing logos for startup companies that disappear within a year. I have commitment issues, anxiety, and I can turn a minor inconvenience into a full-blown crisis. Honestly? Sounds pretty normal, I said. What about the real Evan? The version not pretending to be someone's boyfriend? I thought for a second. Real Evan is 30, works from home most days and hasn't been on a date in half a year because he's terrible at dating apps and even worse at talking to strangers. 6 months? No way, she said. I'm talented at being alone. That's kind of sad. It's efficient. She laughed. You're weird. You kissed a stranger at a bar and dragged him to meet your parents, I said. You lose the right to call me weird. We kept talking for another hour. She told me more about her ex-boyfriend, the lawyer who dumped her for not being ambitious enough. I told her about my previous relationship, which ended because I buried myself in work instead of actually being present. She showed me some of her design projects on her phone. I showed her the app one was building. It felt strangely natural. Around 11 she checked the time and sighed. I should go. I have a client meeting in the morning. Yeah, same. I should head home. Neither of us moved. This was fun, she said. Dinner was awful, but this part was actually really nice. We should do it again, I said. Without your parents. Her eyes widened slightly. Are you asking me on a real date? Maybe. Is that weird? Given how we met? Extremely weird, she said. But also perfect. She grabbed her phone. Give me your number. Your real one. I told her and she texted me right away. Hi, it's your fake girlfriend. I saved her contact and replied. Hi, it's your fake boyfriend who kind of wants to be your real boyfriend. She grinned. Bold move. I spent 3 hours convincing your parents I'm dating you. We might as well make it true. We left the bar together. She hugged me before heading to her car. It felt different, real, not desperate. Text me, she said. I will. I watched her leave, smiling like an idiot. I'd expected a boring night of basketball. Instead, I had a phone number and a date lined up with the strangest woman I'd ever met. When I got home, I texted her. Made it back alive. Your parents didn't follow me. She replied instantly. They liked you. My mom said you seem like a good influence. Should I be worried I impressed your terrifying mother? I wrote. Very worried. She's already planning our wedding. I actually laughed out loud. We texted for another hour before saying goodnight. The next morning I woke up to a message from Lena. Coffee? I promise not to spill it on your laptop this time. We met at the very coffee shop she'd made up in our fake story. She showed up in jeans, a loose sweater, and with her hair down. She looked softer, more at ease. Hi, fake boyfriend, she said. Hi, fake girlfriend. We got our drinks and sat by the window. So now what? She asked. Do we keep pretending for my parents or do we actually try this? I vote for trying it for real, I said. With the understanding that both of us are disasters at dating. That's the most honest first date pitch I've ever heard. She raised her cup. To being disasters together. I tapped mine against hers. To meeting in the strangest way. We talked for 2 hours. About her strict, overachieving parents, about me moving out of state just to escape pressure, about college we went to the same school but never crossed paths, about dumb reality shows we loved and cilantro we hated. When we walked out, she took my hand. Same time next week? She asked. How about dinner tomorrow? That's very eager. I've already met your parents. No point dragging this out. She laughed. Okay, tomorrow. We went out the next night. And the next. By the end of the week, we'd seen each other 5 times. It was fast, maybe too fast, but starting with a lie made being honest strangely easy. Neither of us felt the need to play it cool. 3 weeks in, Lena's mom called during our lunch. Lena put her on speaker. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, sweetie. Just checking in. How are things with Evan?" Lena looked at me across the table. We'd already talked about telling them the truth. "Things are good," she said. "Really good. I'm glad. Your father and I liked him a lot. He seems grounded." "He is. When are we seeing you two again?" Lena hesitated. "Mom, there's something I need to tell you." I reached across and held her hand. "Remember the night you met Evan?" she said. "That wasn't exactly how I described it." Silence. Long, heavy silence. "What do you mean?" her mother finally asked. "We weren't dating for 3 months, Lena said softly. "We actually just met that night. I panicked when you arrived early, and I grabbed him at the bar and asked him to pretend." The silence stretched even longer. I wondered if the call had dropped. "Lena," her mother said slowly, "you lied to us?" "Yes," she whispered. "I'm sorry. I didn't know what else to do." "So this Evan, he wasn't even your real boyfriend?" Lena looked at me. "He wasn't then. But he is now." "I don't understand," her mom said. "Why would you do something like that?" Lena's eyes filled with tears. "Because I was embarrassed. Because you were disappointed when Mark and I broke up. Because I'm tired of feeling like I'm failing at everything." Her mother sighed. "Lena, we've never thought you were failing. You didn't approve of me leaving law school," Lena said quietly. "You didn't like me quitting my job. We worried about you," her mother said. "That's not the same as being disappointed." Her mother paused. "But lying to us, bringing a stranger to dinner and pretending he was your boyfriend, that crossed the line." "I know. I'm sorry. Is he still there?" "Evan?" "Yes, I'm here," I said. "Can I say something?" "Go ahead." I squeezed Lena's hand. "What she did was impulsive and definitely not planned out," I said. "But it came from a good place. She loves you both. She didn't want to hurt you. And honestly, I'm glad she grabbed me that night. Otherwise, I wouldn't have met her." Another long silence. "So you're really dating now?" her mother asked. "This isn't another story?" "We're really dating," Lena said. "I promise." "Well," her mother said slowly, "I suppose meeting this way makes for a more interesting story than coffee." Lena let out a shocked laugh. "You're not mad." "I'm processing," her mom said. "Your father will definitely have thoughts. But no, I'm not mad. Confused, yes. Angry, no." They talked a few more minutes before hanging up. Lena lowered her phone and stared at me. I cannot believe I actually told her the truth. "How do you feel?" "Terrified. Relieved. Like I might throw up." "All valid responses," I said. She laughed softly. "Thank you for having my back. That's what real boyfriends do." Her phone buzzed with her dad's text. "Your mother told me everything. We need to discuss honesty and boundaries. But I'll admit, it takes guts to grab a stranger and drag him to dinner with your parents. You definitely got that from me." Lena showed me the message. "My dad made a joke. That means I'm forgiven." Over the next few months, our relationship felt strangely natural, like we'd skipped the awkward, getting to know you stage. Starting with a fake 3-month backstory made the real parts easier. No pretending. No games. Just us. 3 months later, her parents visited again. This time everything was real. Real stories, real history, real relationship. At dinner, her dad asked, "So, Evan, looking back, would you have done anything differently that first night?" I thought about it. I probably should have asked a few questions before agreeing to meet you too. But no, I wouldn't change it. It worked out. "That it did," he said, raising his glass. Her mother turned to Lena. "Would you grab a stranger at a bar again if you could redo it?" Lena looked at me and smiled. "Only if I knew it would be him." 6 months later we moved in together. Her tiny studio couldn't handle both of us and 50 plants, so we found a 2-bedroom place. My parents flew in to help us move and meet Lena. In the middle of unpacking, my mom pulled me aside. "She's wonderful. I like her." "I like her too." "So how did you two meet again?" "You were vague on the phone." I told her the whole story, from the surprise kiss at the bar to the fake dinner to the moment it all became real. My mom laughed so hard she cried. "That is the most ridiculous meet cute I've ever heard." "I know. You'll have to tell that story at your wedding." "We're not engaged, Mom." She raised an eyebrow. "Yet." She wasn't wrong. I knew early on Lena was different. Exactly 1 year after the night we met, I took Lena back to the same bar. The same bartender was working. I'd called ahead. "What are we doing here?" she asked. "Recreating our origin story," I said. "Except this time, I'm the one surprising you." I got down on one knee right there. People turned around. The bartender held up my phone, recording like I'd asked. "A year ago," I began, "you grabbed me at this bar and forced me into the most chaotic night of my life. You dragged me to dinner with your parents. You made up a whole relationship out of nothing. And somehow, that fake relationship became the most real thing I've ever had." Tears were already running down her cheeks. "So here, where it started, will you make this permanent?" Will you marry me? She didn't even let me finish. Yes. The whole bar started clapping. The bartender handed me my phone. Lena pulled me up and kissed me exactly like she had the first night. Messy, desperate, perfect. The engagement came with a new challenge, explaining to every wedding vendor how we met. So you grabbed him at a bar and made him meet your parents? Our wedding planner asked, barely holding back a laugh. Basically, Lena said. And then you actually started dating? We figured we'd already done the hard part, I said. Might as well make it real. That's either the most romantic or the most insane thing I've ever heard, the planner said. Why not both? I replied. For engagement photos we went back to the bar again. The photographer had us recreate the moment Lena grabbed me, complete with my horrified expression. These are going to be memorable wedding photos, the photographer said. Good, Lena said. Normal is boring. We sent out engagement announcements with that photo and the caption. Started with a lie, ended with a yes. My college roommate called instantly. Dude, the girl from the bar story? You're actually marrying her? I am. That's insane. I know. I love it. Can I tell that story at your wedding? Everyone will, I said. And they did. At our rehearsal dinner, person after person stood up to retell their version of how they first heard the story. My sister talked about my confused phone call that night. Lena's best friend talked about the panicked message she got from her. I just grabbed a random guy at a bar and made him meet my parents. What is wrong with me? Then her parents gave a joint speech, admitting how skeptical they'd been, and how betrayed they felt when the truth came out that Lena's parents finished their rehearsal dinner speech by saying they were grateful her impulsive move had actually led to something real. Sometimes the road to happiness isn't neat, her mom said. Sometimes it involves lying to your parents and grabbing strangers in bars. We don't recommend it, but we can't argue with the result. The wedding day showed up before I was ready for it. I stood at the altar watching Lena walk down the aisle, and all I could think was how a year and a half earlier she'd kissed me out of pure panic. A stranger. And now she was about to become my wife. When it was my turn for vows, I said, Lena, the night you kissed me at that bar, I had options. I could have said no. I could have walked away. I could have told your parents everything. But something made me say yes. Maybe it was your eyes, or maybe it was the wine on your breath, or maybe the universe just shoved me in the right direction. I'm glad I listened, because saying yes to one night of pretending turned into a lifetime of something real. My voice cracked. I had to pause. You taught me that good things can come from terrible plans. That courage sometimes just looks like desperation. And that the right person might show up in the weirdest way imaginable. I love you. I loved you when you were a stranger. I love you now. And I'll love you tomorrow and every day after as your husband. Half the room was crying, including Lena. When she started her vows, she unfolded a handwritten page, then shook her head. I wrote something, she said, but now I want to say something else. She looked at me. Evan, the night I grabbed you, I was terrified. My breakup, my parents, my fear of being alone, all of it was crushing me. So I did the dumbest thing I've ever done. I grabbed a random man and called him my boyfriend. People laughed softly. And you said yes. You didn't run. You didn't question it. You just said yes and walked into the fire with me. And the truth is, I wasn't just acting out of fear. I had a tiny bit of hope. Because when I looked around the bar, I saw you. Not because you were the closest, well, okay, partially because you were the closest, but because you looked kind. Like someone who might understand. She took both my hands. And you did. You understood everything, even the parts one didn't say out loud. You stayed. You turned one ridiculous night into something real. I love you. I loved you when you were a stranger doing me a favor. I love you now as my partner and my best friend. And I'll love you forever as your wife. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for not running away. Thank you for being exactly who I needed. By the time she finished, I was crying too. The officiant waited until we could both breathe normally again before pronouncing us married. We kissed, and it felt both like that first kiss and nothing like it at all. At the reception, the bartender from that night walked in as a surprise guest. Lena had tracked him down. During the toast, he raised a glass and said, I've been bartending 15 years and seen a lot of weird stuff. But watching this woman grab this guy and kiss him out of nowhere, then watching them pretend to be a couple for her parents, that was top 5 weirdest things I've ever witnessed. Everyone laughed. But I also saw the way they looked at each other even back then. There was something real. They just didn't know it yet. He raised his glass higher. To Evan and Lena, may your marriage be as unexpected and perfect as the night you met. We danced until our feet hurt. We took pictures with everyone. The cake had a tiny fondant version of the bar moment on top. Naturally Lena's idea. My best man told the story of my frantic call that night. I said, what is happening? He said, I don't know if she thinks I'm her boyfriend or if she's having some kind of breakdown, but I think I like her. And I told him it was the dumbest idea ever and not to get involved. 5 minutes later he said, too late. I'm at dinner with her parents. So this is my fault, really? Everyone howled with laughter. Later, Lena's dad pulled me aside. When she first told us the truth, I was furious. I felt tricked. I get it, I said. But watching you two today, the connection is real. You can't fake that. He put his hand on my shoulder. Take care of my daughter, Evan. Even when she makes impulsive decisions and grabs strangers. Especially then, I said. He laughed and walked away. At the end of the night, Lena and I stood in the parking lot in our wedding clothes, exhausted and buzzing with happiness. We did it, she whispered. We actually got married. We did. How did we get here? From a random bar to this. I pulled her close. You grabbed me. I said yes. Everything else took care of itself. Best impulse decision I ever made, she said. Best yes I ever gave. We drove to a hotel near the airport, flight to Italy in the morning, but before we checked in we made one last stop. We went back to the bar. Almost midnight, still open. We sat in the same seats where we'd first talked after meeting her parents. The same bartender was working. And it felt like coming home. The bartender spotted us the second we walked in and grinned. Back already? Marriage didn't stick. Just wanted to end the night where we started, Lena said. He poured 2 drinks on the house. To the weirdest couple I've ever met. We clinked glasses. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you'd grabbed someone else? I asked. All the time, Lena said. But I didn't grab someone else. I grabbed you. Why me though? Really? She studied me for a moment. Honestly? You were just smiling. Not at anything, not with anyone. Just sitting there alone looking like someone who was okay with himself. And I thought, maybe he'll be okay with me too. I wasn't that okay with myself. Neither was I, she said. But we figured it out. We finished our drinks and stepped outside as a married couple for the first time. Halfway to the car, Lena stopped and looked back at the entrance. Thank you. For what? For being there that night. For being the person I grabbed. For saying yes. I kissed her. Thank you for grabbing me. The next morning we flew to Italy. 2 weeks of pasta, wine, and exploring cities we'd only ever seen in photos. On our last night in Rome at a restaurant overlooking the rooftops, Lena pulled out her phone. My mom texted me earlier. She said she's been thinking about our story. And? She said she's glad I panicked that night. That sometimes the best things come from our worst moments. I took her hand across the table. Your mom's smarter than she admits. Don't tell her that, Lena said. She'll get insufferable. We came home and settled into married life. We framed our wedding photos, including the ones taken at the bar, and everyone who visited always asked for the story. We never got tired of telling it. 6 months later, Lena got a call from a podcast about unusual love stories. A mutual friend had told them about us. Should we do it? She asked. Why not? We've told everyone we know already. We recorded the episode, laughing through the whole hour. So you just grabbed him? The host asked. Yup, Lena said. And you just went with it? He asked me. I did, I said. Because life's too short to turn down something interesting just because it's insane. The episode went viral. Messages poured in. Some people said our story made them hopeful. Others said it encouraged them to take more chances. One message stuck out. It was from a woman who'd been at the bar the night Lena grabbed me. She wrote, I saw the whole thing. I was waiting for a date who never showed up. I was miserable. But I saw you two walk out with her parents and thought, well, someone is having a memorable night. I had no idea what I was really watching. Reading how it ended made me realize that sometimes chaos is the beginning of something beautiful. Lena cried when she read it. We affected a stranger, she said. We did, I said. Everything about this is insane. A year after the wedding we went back to the bar for our anniversary, a new tradition. The bartender saw us and had our drinks ready. The anniversary couple, he said, setting down a beer for me and wine for Lena. Year 1, how's married life? Weird and wonderful, Lena said. Exactly like how it started. We toasted to surviving our first year. You think we'll still be doing this in 10 years? She asked. I hope so. 20? 50? I looked around the bar. As long as this place is standing, yeah. I think we will. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Good. I like our traditions. Even the weird ones. Especially the weird ones, I said. 2 years later, Lena told me she was pregnant. We were sitting on the couch when she said it, and the first thing out of my mouth was, we should celebrate at the bar. Really? Celebrate at the place where I ambushed you? Where else? We went that night. The bartender swapped our drinks for sparkling cider. This bar is now part of your kid's origin story, he said. How do you feel about that? Proud, Lena said. Our kid will have the craziest how mom and dad met story in their class. When our daughter was born, we named her Grace. Not after anyone, it just felt right. Grace for Lena's reckless courage. Grace for my stupid willingness to say yes. Grace for the life that followed. When Grace was 3 months old, we brought her to the bar. The bartender snapped a photo of the 3 of us sitting in the exact same seats from years before. This one's going on the wall, he said. You're officially bar legends. When Grace was old enough to ask how we met, we told her the full truth. No editing. Her eyes went wide. Mommy grabbed a stranger? She asked. Mommy grabbed Daddy, Lena corrected. But yes, technically a stranger. That's silly. It is silly, I said. But it worked. As Grace grew older, she loved hearing the story. She'd ask for it like a bedtime tale. What if Daddy said no? She asked once. Then I'd have had to grab someone else, Lena joked. What if nobody said yes? Then I'd have had to tell Grandma and Grandpa the truth. Would that have been bad? Lena and I exchanged a look. It would have been honest, I said. And honest is usually better than lying. Grace thought for a moment. But grabbing Daddy worked better. And she was right.